to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Ebro in the Morning. You got Rosenberg and you got Laura Stiles. Joining the program today is Ice Cube, one of the hottest conversation topics right now as we head into the election. Cube, thanks for joining the program.
Yeah, what's up with y'all?
Man, we blessed, man. Good to have you back on. First, I want to start by establishing a couple things. I've been vocally appreciative of you starting the conversation around the contract with Black America. I think it's a necessary conversation to have. But my first question for you is the timing. What made you decide to start this so close to Election Day right now? And is that even true? You may have even started it before and we didn't know.
Well, I had aspects of it, for a few years, but then I started the Big Three, which really took all my, bandwidth, so to speak, to really get that going and running, and it's been going for 3 years, and but George Floyd murder and protests after that really made me focus more on, us as a collective community and not just me as an individual or my family or my friends or our interests like that, which we all can get caught up in. But it was really about what can we do other than, protest, which is important, but what are we asking concretely? Is there a document out there that shows, what can be asked for, not just police reform, because we know you fix one thing and then we get worked in the courtroom, then we get worked in the prison system. So you got to fix things across the board. So I started looking at, like, what are all the things that need to be fixed? Where does it need to start? So that's the construction of the contract with Black America, just looking at the problem and understanding and being shocked that a document like this has not really, been kind of universally pushed in a way. It was just surprising that, out of all the leaders and the people who've come through, that, we don't have our Declaration of Independence yet. We don't have something that
our demands.
We
don't have clear interests, clear demands lined up as a collective unit, and voters, active voters, and our women are some of the, Black women are the most, loyal voting bloc and educated voting bloc probably in America.
Mm-hmm. It's true. And so it was just meant, when I first started as a foundation, we were planning on really going after private industry, because we felt like, the police were doing things, but the country had come to a realization that it was time to fix those wrongs of the past in some way, shape, or form. So we wanted to be able to go at, not only, private sector, government. We was looking at what we can do in the courtrooms. So, that was our initial plan. When I say our, I have, some great people working with me. Rob Johnson, he was on the ground with us. Even Chris Broussard, people like Derek Hamilton, who's a, very, one of our brilliant economist minds that's out there. And we reached out to, other people to help us really, hone this thing in. And
that was always my question too, was, we hear about these ideas that I think are great ideas. And when I heard this, my first question was, who are you working with on this? And do we have legislative writers, or do you have legislative writers, people who actually deal with the law and the process of politics in this, or is this something that's still being formed? Because I think most of the blowback that you got was the timing of it feeling like it was detracting from the election that is soon come and creating confusion on what people should be doing going into this election. And I think that's where the biggest question mark that I saw was that it was causing confusion and turmoil right before November 3rd.
Um, Only because those things that's in the contract need to be addressed. The contract was for us to build on, a foundation. I wasn't going in there, thinking like, oh, I have all the answers. I reached out when I first put the contract out in July 1st, for anybody who could help me, um, you know, make it better, give me, data and or research that they have in all these different categories. So, that was really the purpose of just starting the conversation as a foundation. We've had great people reach out to us to help us build it and make it better, and it has gotten better even from day one. So that was my goal. You know, the candidates, we know candidates on the Democratic side, um, people that's in with Democrats. So we was like, yo, we got this great thing. We would love to make contact, and it was kind of not happening. So we went on to promote and push the contract, and um, then we got contact. After we did the April Ryan show, we were contacted by the Democrats that said they wanted to talk to us. So we
You think they
was
took you more serious once they saw you with somebody like April Ryan having a convo? Because I'm sure people come with ideas all the time. So you think they probably
yeah,
started taking you more serious, as oh, okay, this is real. He's really trying to move this around.
sure. I believe people come up with everybody be popping off, but we put a lot of work into this. And when it came out, a lot of people were patting us on the back because they agreed, because it's just full of common sense. It's nothing in there that's, um, you know, nothing but common sense if you really read it. And of course, people can always add to it. It's not my contract. I believe it's our contract. So these candidates started to contact me first. The Democrats, we spoke with them. Um, we were looking. They told us they would follow up with us, and we didn't really receive the follow up. So we started to focus on other areas. We was focused on getting a bill passed in California with Governor Newsom, called AB 3121. We got that passed with ADOS, with help from a lot of great people.
And for the
And
audience, just so y'all know, that's a bill that got a assembly bill that set up the research to begin for reparations for black people. And that was Gavin
yeah,
Newsom in the state of California. And there was legislators and other people that worked with y'all on that.
yeah. And so we were gonna really start attacking, going after that. We were looking at the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment. We believe, there's some legal grounds that, those amendments weren't held up in a way that they were written to be held up. So we were looking at, other ways to, fight for equality. Because look, everybody was really going after um, social justice. So we felt like there was a lot of energy going that way. We want to focus on economic justice because there's virtually no energy that way. So as we doing that, and getting things done, we're contacted and by the Trump campaign, because they said they loved our plan and they wanted to talk to us about what's in our plan. So once we talked to him about our plan and what we had and what we was envisioning, and also making sure money went exactly where it was supposed to go, they upgraded their plan. And I didn't come out of there. It wasn't no photo op situation. It wasn't no me saying, look what I did, look what I did. Matter of fact, I actually told him, I said, nobody's gonna believe you unless you do something. And so came home, did my thing, and then this
The tweet.
tweet come out last week, and everybody say I'm messing up the election because I'm meeting
Well,
too early to the
how'd you feel about that
campaign.
tweet, Q? Because you had the conversation, obviously you didn't make the conversation public. So when someone from the Trump side came out and tweeted that you guys worked together, how did you receive that tweet?
It's to me, it's politics. Um, it's of course it's a little shady, but because it was misleading, but it's politics. I knew if I did something for the Biden campaign that they would use it too. So it's just politics. I have a lot of understanding on how these things are used, and I knew it was going to come out eventually, but I think I was there for a bigger cause, so I wasn't really concerned about that. I knew once the truth got out and people heard what I said, they would understand what happened.
Did
So
you
you
like that?
mentioned
Did you like that whole platinum plan? How they took aspects of it and created a black plan for Black America and called it the Platinum Plan? Did you feel and do you feel today, like I saw your tweet with Eric Trump, where he put up a photo and you hit him back and was like, nigga, please, about him putting up a photo of you in 50. Clearly you're responding to it to make sure that
Yep.
the people know that they're trying to use you.
I mean, it was a doctored photo, so
Yeah.
don't use no doctor shit on me and think I'm not gonna just call you out on it. Um, but it's that kind of shit is foul. It don't get them nowhere with me. I haven't endorsed Donald Trump. So you know, to me, both sides are lacking, and they got to do better. Because what they got down ain't gonna solve the problem yet. We got a lot of work to do.
Are you you vote, registered to vote, you're a voter?
Yes, yes.
Have you
I
decided how you
voted. I voted Democrat in every election.
are you and have you decided how you're going to vote November 3rd?
I actually haven't. It's I'm a vote because there's a lot of things to vote for. In California, up and down. Our city and state. But I just, I'm a real, true undecided voter, because they're not doing enough.
And the white supremacy alignment of Donald Trump and the people he has working for him who are overt white supremacists. Look, racism comes in many forms, but overt white supremacy that doesn't put you off in potentially supporting Donald Trump.
Um, well, I'm not supporting Donald Trump. White supremacy do turn me off. But it's everywhere, and it's on both sides of the aisle, and that's just the reality that we live in, and I'm not naive to that. So, we're engulfed in white supremacy. So, that's just something we're gonna have to fight our way out of,
I
and
think,
we're gonna fight. We're gonna have to fight on all fronts.
Cube, I would say this is probably the part where people get the most concerned is that for many people, we feel that the rhetoric and the decisions that have been made by the Trump administration over the last 4 years put them in a category of alignment with racism and white supremacy that is so in a different world that out of that conversation of we know there's white supremacy on both sides feels like a bit of a cop out in the sense that we know this Trump administration, we know
How
exactly
how
what
is
they
it?
are.
How is the truth a cop out? I mean, it's the truth. And if you can show me that it's not the truth, let me know. But it's not a cop out. It's the reality of the situation we find ourselves in. And if we are blind to that, we'll continue to find ourselves in it.
But you don't
You
think it's
know,
false equivalency?
everybody, every person has to make their own decision when they walk in that booth. You know, Ice Cube can't make it for him. Hot 97 can't make it for him, or anybody else. Everybody got to make their own decision, and they got to take all the information that they have gathered, the true facts, and then make that decision. Um, and so I'm the one who's not telling you where to vote. So people shouldn't be skeptical of what I'm saying because I'm not telling you where to vote.
But it
You
is
know,
a
that's your own decision.
but it is a bit of, but like what you just said, for example, and I think the reason people get upset, Cube, is because you're such an inspiration in so many people's socio-political awakenings, myself and my brother included. You're such a part of us, making us see the world as teenagers. So when you say there's white supremacy on both sides, it feels like a false equivalency because while Biden and the Harris ticket may have their own issues and sort of establishment Democrat bullshit, we've seen open white supremacy from the Trump administration. We've seen what he's calling Black Lives Matter protesters. He's calling them terrorists. I mean, we've seen that. They're saying it. So I think it feels like a false equivalency when you just say, well, we know there's white supremacy with both of them.
Yeah, I can see how, you know, you may see it like that, but I don't. So I don't know where that leaves us.
Right here.
Well, I guess it's an agree to. I guess it sounds like an agree to disagree. And I just want to say for the sake of the conversation, and how I use my platform, y'all know how I feel. Overt open white supremacy, and that comfort that is allowed, that Donald Trump and his regiment and his regime has allowed to operate, and the way police have been emboldened, even more emboldened, to show their true colors during this last 3 years, and even citizens of America to show their true colors the last 3 years, I think is something that you can't put back in. You
Well, I mean,
and to eradicate it and to actually address it and deal with it, I think it's something that it's something that needs to be addressed because if it's seen as like, look, it is what
I
it
mean,
is. If it's seen as what it is what it is, it's a disease that's going to
nah,
spread and get worse.
it's definitely not seen as it is what it is. But you know, the word true colors. Um, you, America, we have so many facades.
That's right.
Um, and that's the problem. There's so many lies. People got so many different ways of being. They one way with these people, one way with those people. So, you know, true colors is what we need to see. We need to see people true colors. We don't need to see people's fake smiles, and we don't need to see people faking like they like us. We need to see and look the devil in the eye. So that's just it. And so that's what it's all about. And so people don't want to see the truth. Y'all know how I get down. That's how I come. And I've always done it. I've always spoke against white supremacy, what I mean, in my music. And so that's just who I am. But I'm gonna always stand on the truth, and I'm not gonna pretend, you know, um, with any candidate, happy days are here again. That's just not the way it goes. I mean, the reality of the situation is we're gonna be in bad shape, no matter who's in there January 20th. And we need somebody in there that's gonna change that and make our condition better on all fronts, not just socially, but economically. A lot of people heard me say the word dollars bring dignity. I'm not saying that in a way that I'm delusional. Like if you get money, people like you. But we live in a crazy ass capitalistic society where people do treat you better when you got money. It's a damn shame, but it's how it goes down here in
Well,
America.
and as you know, the way white supremacy is set up, white supremacists and white supremacy would love to establish a place to keep black people sectioned off from mainstream society so they can devalue our assets, right? Which is why a candidate like Donald Trump, clamors to align with somebody like yourself because he can use that credibility, but then also section and say, yeah, of course you can have money, of course your HBCU can have money over there, and we can control your value because that's what white supremacy really the main operation is to keep people in a specific place so they can stay in control. And
I
I think
mean,
that's the nuance, in deciding between these two candidates. Look, I'm a Biden supporter, only because I know he's a one-term president, and I think it gets us on a path going in a direction that addresses some things. Do I think it's a perfect? No. I guess the next question I have for you, Q, have you talked to any or plan to talk to any of the black mayors around the nation, the people who are black, who govern and run the business of predominantly black cities, about actually getting this contract and these talking points and figuring out what people need on the ground specifically?
we've talked to mayors. Actually on the call when we was with the DNC, the mayor from Atlanta was on the call, and I'm sorry, I forget her name
Keisha Lance
offhand.
Bottoms.
Yeah, yes. Excuse me. And so she was on the call, and I know mayors. We went through the whole country with the big three, and we met a lot of black mayors who came down to the games and really enjoyed themselves at the games. You know, have a lot of them weighed in on this? No. This is something that I expect it to grow and continue to grow. The campaigns contacted me. I spoke to them, and I'm back on my mission to grow the contract with Black America because I know I'm not naive enough to believe that whoever gets elected is gonna push this thing without being pushed from the back. So that's what's happening. We're pushing, and I'm gonna continue to
I'm a,
work on
I,
the contract
I'm
with Black
appreciate I'm
America.
appreciative of the
In,
concept for sure. Um,
in the private sector, there's things that could be done in just in a fair way, like with banking. We're 13.5% of the country, but we're not lent 13.5% of the money when it comes to
access to
buying
capital.
homes, cars, beautifying our homes, businesses, even venture capitalists. We only get 1% of that money, and we have great ideas. We have great people who are innovative and smart, and they can't get their ideas off the ground. These kind of things got to stop, or it won't change.
When you
Q,
oh, go
just a
ahead,
quick
Laura. I'm sorry.
question, just for clarity, because I was trying to understand. Earlier you said that when both parties contacted you, right? When you were talking to the Democrats, that they weren't really like hitting you back, right? Earlier, I think I said in one of your interviews that they said yes, they would be willing to work it out with you, but after the election. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah. They said that they liked the plan, um, and they would deal with it after election, invite me to the table, and work on the plan or try to implement some of the ideas. And if they win, I still expect that to happen because that's what they said. So
Right, right,
um,
right.
whoever wins, I I hope they expect to see me, and like I said, I'll work with anybody who want to work with me to get these things done. I do need help. I'm getting help from a few grassroots organizations here and there, but we need, I wish I can get help from every grassroots organization to push these things and make sure they are implemented because there's phases to this. There's first candidate has to make the campaign promise. Then you have them on the hook. After that, you find out who you can use in Congress, who you can use in the Senate, and then you try to push legislation. But after it goes through, um, who knows if it goes through or not, but after it goes through, then you have to implement those things and make sure that the money is touching the ground and then they not being siphoned off by private businesses, because private businesses love um, to work with government, and they end up siphoning off the money, and the money doesn't necessarily get to the people that it's supposed to get to. So
Right, we've seen
you got
that
to make
before.
sure all those things don't happen. And we need organizations across the country to make sure that doesn't happen. But
And so, and I want to
that's the
reiterate and,
future.
and get clarity. So, we've learned today that this is an idea that has grown exponentially in a short period of time.
Yes.
B, that you've invited people in to help you perfect this idea, and
Yes.
that you would still love more support from people who have knowledge and information, whether, because black people aren't a monolith, right? Like what black people need in Atlanta is different than what black people need in Oakland, is different than what black people need in Minneapolis, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that this contract idea that you started, because you recognize that there wasn't a central location where all black people in America were communicating and sharing their ideas into a central place.
Well, I mean, I know there's a lot, but we're in the information age. We're at a point where, everybody could talk to each other at the same time and communicate. So I felt like, this is a great central location. I didn't find a document out here like the contract with Black America, um, that I could latch on to. So we created it. So hopefully other people can say, hey, these are some great things. Add this, add
Oh.
that. I agree with this, don't agree with that. We make our adjustments and we keep pushing. We expect this to be a living, growing, breathing uh, document until it's perfect. And remember, we contacted the Democratic Party at first, but when we really didn't get through, we went on to promote the contract, and then the party started to contact us. So, they could have just left us alone. We would have been doing our thing if if they didn't really want this to play out in any kind of certain way.
Right.
Um, we wasn't, it wasn't like we was you know, felt any kind of way because they didn't want to work with us. We understood, look, you got this entertainer late in the game. We understand. But when then you contact us and then the ball start rolling, um, you know, that's really what happened.
Do you trust the Trump administration to be good on their word, and if they win, to deliver on the things they said they would?
Uh, I don't trust either campaign. I do not trust Trump is going to do it. I don't trust Biden is going to do it. That's why I want us to stay real diligent and real. We can't get happy no matter what happened. Even if your candidate win, you have to, you know, figure out now how do you apply the pressure needed for them to do what they claim they're going to do.
And you don't think
That's
the you don't think the
it's work.
Biden Harris administration would be more receptive to that pressure on issues like this, as opposed to the Trump administration, who, from all we can tell, Trump seems to have spent his whole life basically working against this. I mean, if you look back at his entire
I
life,
mean,
there's never been an
you
indication he
know,
cares about black people ever.
I mean, the wild card is, he's a wild card. You're dealing with a 4-year politician who he might not give a damn and do it, or you're dealing with a guy that's been in there for a long time who, you know, never know. It's like you're dealing with a guy who know the game, you're dealing with a guy who don't know the game, and we're trying to get something in. You never know which one gonna do it.
I think the real
So
learning
it's a
here
lo- it's
too.
a it's a long shot. But the thing is, the long shot is this. You know, if Donald Trump happens to win,
Hmm.
like we wouldn't have no kind of connection to even try to push nothing. We would just do what we've been doing, stand on the sideline yelling, waiting for our turn again. And I don't know if that's healthy either. So, you know, um,
That's an interesting point. So at least there's a connection of some sort. If he does win, there's some sort of in to try.
I mean, we got to push. You know, nobody can make a president sign anything, grab his hand and make him sign it. He has to do it on his own. So, you just got to push and try to get him the reasons and the will. And the reason to do it is your country is coming apart. It's coming apart at the seams. It don't work. It's not fixed, and it's not, great again. It's coming apart at the
You fell
seams. So
short.
if
You
you
fell
want
short, my guy.
you want to fix that, then you got to fix the black issue.
And so for everybody, hopefully learning from this conversation of about where Cube is, because there's been a lot of information, that is as people jump into conclusions. Cube has never endorsed Donald Trump. Um, Also, this sounds like this is about momentum, right? Because I think that's another thing that people miss in these moments, which I feel are very important. Um, some things change, that we are trying to get done as black folks doesn't happen overnight. It's not like even if Biden wins or Trump wins, whoever wins, it's not like that the next 4 years of their term fixes the generations of like this is something that has to become habitual, right, Cube? Like this is something
Yes,
that you're having a conversation about it at this point, right? But we're going to be having this same conversation
yeah.
every month, every year, every time it's time to vote, it has to continue and it has to be embedded in culture to become
I
a
mean,
cultural norm.
very good points. We got to push. Every day we got to push. Uh, for justice. We can't get complacent. We can't wait for elections. This right here, in my mind, if we get real good momentum, is 8 to 10 year plan to really, bring about the real change we really need. So, it's a long haul, and it's going to take many different turns. It's going to after election, it's going to turn to, like I said, the private sector. It might turn to a legal, um, constitutional battle. So, there's things we all got to do to keep pushing this thing forward. And, I just want to say this too with all the people who say that I have bad timing and that I have something to do with, you know, things being said all this weekend. Of course, everybody's talking about me, but if you really think that, I was tricked or duped or whatever, people spent the whole weekend breaking down Trump's plan to people, trying to talk shit about me. And so, people got to look at really what they did to pump up the man plan. I never in my life said anything about his plan. And so until I had to come out and defend the truth. So, you know, when you talk about me getting played, everybody got to kind of look at themselves because they've spent the whole weekend pumping this man's plan up.
I
Right,
mean,
but
many
we
of us
got,
have
know.
spent
but we
four
got,
years talking about it.
I
but we got
yeah,
lured in. We got lured in because we love you, Q.
I understand that, but we got to understand too that you know everybody is in the same boat. What I mean, it ain't about you know one person, you know, saying like, "Yo, let's pile on Cube. Let's keep it going. Let's talk about this. Let's break down." He really had y'all breaking down his plan. Not y'all. I ain't gonna say y'all because I haven't heard what y'all did on this, but the media and a lot of people on radio, a lot of people on podcasts that's against Donald Trump. and spending all weekend breaking down his plan. So everybody, I think, should be careful.
Yeah, we broke
But
down
we
Biden's.
all
We
we all
broke
have
down
to.
Biden's plan. We broke down when the platinum plan came out. I read it. I thought it was weak. I thought the headlines were weak. I
Yeah.
thought I didn't think it was detailed enough. I thought it was just like big headlines. It didn't really give any execution plans. I think when you go to Biden's site, I think what he's got there is much better detail for me as a voter and
Hmm.
somebody who actually has dealt with business before.
Hmm.
Now, Q, I
Yeah.
believe that whether it's Kanye West or Robert Smith, the black billionaire in the United States, who a lot of people ain't been paying attention to that. He got hit with tax evasion behind the scenes. He was meeting with Donald Trump, and they making sure that he don't have to do jail time and he can just kind of, pay his fines. You can assure us right now, Cube, that this isn't in any way, shape, or form trying to maneuver around tax responsibility or a relationship for your big three or your ambitions to own cable or any of that. This is really about the community.
Totally about the community. If I was just thinking about myself, y'all wouldn't even hear from me about this kind of stuff. Y'all hear me doing, music and movies and pumping that. Um, so, I know people got their conspiracy theories, and a lot of people before have let everybody down when it
That's right.
comes to this, but it's nothing like that on my tip. It's nothing I've asked from these people. It's nothing I'm trying to get from these people personally. I'm trying to get something for us. I've seen the things that are locked in place that funnel us to either the penitentiary or to the jailhouse. I mean, to the grave or to drugs, dope. I've seen that, it's a funnel. It's not because we can't get it together. And so we have to break that funnel and we have to put opportunities into the communities. When you look up and 48% of black businesses close, I feel for those not only businesses but those workers because black businesses usually hire black people. So these are black families that's suffering, and we got to do something to shore that up. I wanted the country to do bailouts and grants. To me, it really don't matter who win. Um, we still have to push a black agenda. There's things that the country has. There's minority programs and things that go on that don't necessarily get to us as a community as a whole. That's why we're still in the same position.
Now,
So you people can fault me for doing something different, but that to me is it's crazy to do the same thing and expect something different to come out.
and you promise us you're not going to take the call when he says, Ice Cube, I want you to come up here. I'm going to give you a big game show check. And he wants to get that photo op handing you the check. You're going to tell him to go fuck himself, right?
What check? I'm
If
not getting a check.
No, I know what he'll say.
So
I have my contract for Black America. I want you to come to the White House. I'm going to have a big photo opportunity. You'll tell him to screw off. Just deposit the money.
man, I'm not worried about no photo op, and I'm not worried about that part, man. I'm not in it for publicity. I'm only doing this stuff to tell the truth, let people know exactly where I'm coming from. I haven't told nobody to endorse nobody, and I'm not gonna start.
Are you gonna connect with Puff? He's got the voting block that he's working on to kind of organize our black party. Have you guys had dialogue? Because as you said earlier in this conversation, right, there's a lot of things moving and a lot of people working on different things. Are you being proactive, or is your organization being proactive in trying to make sure that we're all aligned and information is flowing?
I've talked to Puff before he started his party. Ever since he started it, it seemed like this thing done came out. So we ain't connected yet on his our black party. So we'll end up talking and connecting and trying to build. I think it's important for us to really connect with other people that are doing things and try to pool our resources pool our
Influence,
network.
yeah.
Yes, influence, great word. And so it's time. If we don't do that, no matter who the president is, we're going to still be fragmented and nothing's going to get done for our community. And we can't rely on the president. This is like, we're putting all of our hope into who the president is. But at the end of the day, we got to really see who our councilmen are and who are,
Talk about it.
our elected officials in city government and state government. These people really affect your lives, on the, quicker, more times and quicker than the president usually. So,
And
you,
even
you
if
we have,
the president has a great proposal, as you pointed out earlier, even if these ideas come to fruition, if you don't have local legislators and local individuals that you voted in, making sure that the execution in your community is done right, the
mhm,
money still gets squandered. The resources still get fucked off in your local area.
exactly. And, we got to really be smart too. Because sometimes, if we're on one side of the fence and the other side come up with an idea, we don't want them to get a win, so we block it and not let it happen. And this got to be a bipartisan issue at the end of the day. We got to push both parties. Sometimes you got to push the Democrats to hey, you look, y'all, I know y'all don't like them dudes over there, but work with them to get this done, and not just say we don't want them to get a win.
That's why I'm a
And
registered independent. One of the reasons, right there.
right there, you got to push both sides when it's in your interest. And so, I just think we got to do a few things different. Um, no matter who wins, we got to push them both. No matter who we like, we got to push the ones we don't like. And so, once we start doing that, I think things will open up and loosen up, and we can get things done.
Yeah, these motherfucking white supremacists though, Q. I get stuck, man, with Donald Trump and these white supremacists,
I
bro. I get
mean,
stuck, man. I get stuck.
they look. Let me tell you,
I get
they
stuck.
ain't gonna
I
go no.
can't.
They ain't gonna go no. They ain't gonna go nowhere, no matter who's the president. So
See, I
we've been
disagree with that.
stuck.
I disagree with that fundamentally, Cube. I'm sorry. That's just not factual.
We
Biden
we've
is
been
not
stuck.
surrounded by white supremacists. He's
We
not.
we. I ain't
Well,
saying he
overt
is.
ones.
I'm saying they're not. I'm saying these people who came out are not going anywhere.
No, that
The
part's
They're
true.
not.
I agree.
citizens.
They're
The
But
not
watching,
going
citizens.
anywhere.
no, that's true.
We're yeah.
That's the fear too, and Ebro made that point earlier. Now that they're out and emboldened, it's terrifying because you're right. They ain't going nowhere. I just can't.
And they've
I
been
can't
there.
deal with an election night where I'm watching them stand behind the president celebrating another 4 years, and that's what will happen when you see Stephen Miller and Jared Kushner and these types standing there celebrating another 4 years. Man, it's a scary thought.
Yeah. I mean, to me, no matter who up there celebrating, it's a scary thought, and we got to push, and we got to make sure that they do what the hell they supposed to do, no matter who's standing up there, because we obviously don't know. We was in this position 4 years ago. We thought it was that Hillary Clinton would be elected, and it didn't happen. So I just realized no matter who's there, push, fight, keep scrapping.
Because so far we've been getting fucked with no Vaseline. You know what I'm saying, Cube?
uh,
It's what it feels
I,
like.
I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't put it that way on myself, but I feel you.
Thanks, Cube.
I feel like
The
things could be better for sure.
the contract with Black America, you could sign up. You could just Google contract with Black America. It's a site. You can get the email. I think there's been some great revelations. Thanks for taking the time out today. It was clearly you are working on an idea that is an ever evolving idea. I'm appreciative, like I've been saying, that yourself and even Diddy planning this idea that we need as black folks to be aligned on our political interests. Other groups do it. It's very common, whether that be religious groups or cultural groups. It's been happening, holding electeds accountable and saying this is what we expect from you if you get our vote. This is very common, and I'm glad, Cube, that you've started this conversation. Also, shout out to Diddy for the conversation he started. But everybody, make sure you get out there and vote. I know around here in New York City, Cube, out there in California, you guys already started mail-in, right? That already started.
Yeah.
Early voting, all
mail-in.
that is going on. Early voting starts out here in New York on Saturday. Jersey, every resident in New Jersey has already just gotten a mail-in ballot. It just showed up to your crib if you're a registered voter already. And if you don't want to mail that in, you can go to the polls and do it that way on November 3rd. But yeah, Cube, thanks for taking the time and thanks for giving us a better insight into what you're doing, so we don't have to get inundated with all the misinformation on social media.
Hey man, thanks for having me, man. You guys always, bring me on and let me, spit, what I gotta say. So I really appreciate it. And I love giving understanding because there's no worse thing than misunderstanding. So, understanding is to me the key to harmony. So I'm glad people can understand where I'm coming from, whether they agree with it or not. That's really up to them. So
Hey, listen, man.
thanks.
I love where your head is at on it, and the idea of what you're doing. Even if I don't necessarily agree with all the exact method, that's you, and you made America's most. So I'm a default and watch and see how it plays out, man.
Appreciate that.
Thanks, Cube.
Thanks,
All right.
Cube.
Thanks, Cube. Talk soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew it.
You knew you was gonna get a yay at the end.
I knew it.